morning. Time to continue our vlogs about our Australian road trip. Um, we finished off the last time on us being on Fraser Island and how that went with the tour guide. The tour operator we used to go to Fraser Islands with the monster truck. From Fraser Island, we continued our journey up north, and we knew that it would be quite a big lap because we were going from Fraser Island to town of 7070 or Agnes Water. And we knew depending on how the road was, what we would meet, that it would be quite a drive. So what we did for that journey is everywhere we saw a resting area, like a rest area, and everywhere we saw, even if it was just a small town with rest area and a playground, we stopped everywhere because we weren't sure how many rest areas with playground we would meet. And don't forget, we still have the 7-year-old with us. So we used those rest area really good. If we saw trucking stops that had like enough space around it where you could walk or run or something, we would stop there as well just to get our feet out, get walking, stretch our legs, and everything. We thought we were looking at the map and we thought, well, let's stop before it gets dark. So we thought we'll stop at Moriboro. And we thought from looking at the map that Moriboro would be a medium-sized little town where you could stop, have something to eat, and stay for the night. Mariboro wasn't a really big town. It was a really, really small town. And we found a camping on the side of the road. Remember, this is 2009. We found a camping on the side of the road. And the camping was literally just a camping strip on the side of the road. So we stayed there. We had, luckily, we had still food in our fridge and we could prep the food ourselves. So we just would eat there. But because we were kind of in the middle of nowhere, we had the most amazing view of the night sky. Absolutely amazing. The the stars, you could see the Milky Way. And remember, up until this point, we were every time still in quite populated area. Like we were in Brisbane, we were in Caloundra, but now we were really like a little town in the middle of nowhere. So the night sky looked completely different. And it was nothing like you can compare with Europe. It was so clear. You could almost see like the fog behind the stars, even without a telescope. So that was the first time for us that we could see that. And that was really like a point where we thought that, oh, we're really, really getting into like rural Australia area and seeing things differently now. So that was quite nice. So we continued our drive to town of 7070. Town of 7070 and Agnes Water. They're really nice to stop, but you're actually moving away from the highway while you're heading up north to get there. So we knew that it was away from the highway, but we also heard from people that it was a really nice place to stop. So we stopped there, and also remember, it was July. July is summer in Europe. But in Australia, it still didn't feel like summer because, of course, it's winter. So we were fine during the day when it was sunny. But the second the sun was gone, it felt quite chilly. Up until we arrived in town of 7070 and Agnes Water, and all of a sudden it felt like summer all day. The weather was nice, the water was nice, the sky was blue, absolutely amazing. 2 little towns, and we were staying at a caravan park nearby, and the caravan park they had cabins or they had just camping spots, or you can have bungalow villas. So So we stayed there for 3 days, and we did quite a few excursions in the area. You have lots of reserves nearby town of 7070, but it is really, really a small town that actually gets very populated in summer and when there are lots of tourist backpackers, because it's also a gateway to Lady Crossgrove Island, one of the islands in the reef. And we met, again, Australian grey nomads. Grey nomads are retired people who live in Melbourne or New South Wales. And when it's winter here, here, they go up to Queensland with their caravans and stuff. So we call them grey nomads because they move up. So we met a couple of grey nomads, and they were telling us that they went to Lady Crossgrove Island. And do you remember that I told you in the other video that that they changed the times that we could get onto Fraser Island and had to get off because of the king tide that was setting in? Well, they were on the reef, and they were saying that the water on the reef was so low, they've never seen it that low before. And their guide also told them it's the king tide. The king tide went out so far that they could walk like so much further than you would normally be able to walk if you go to Lady Cosgrove Island. So, or was it Lady Elliot? Maybe it's Lady Elliot Island. Let me check that for you. But yeah, they said that if we still had time to do it, that we should go and see how it is. Of course, it's no longer king tide, but apparently you could still see the effects or something for a few days after a king tide. We didn't have time for that, but we absolutely enjoyed town of 7070. Town of 7070 is one of those little coastal towns that has things that you don't think of when you've never been in a little coastal town. Like, for example, you have a few good restaurants, but the restaurants you have to eat very early. And very early, I mean, is you have to start eating like at 5:30, 6-ish. Because from most of the restaurants, the kitchen closes at 7:30. Yes, that is very early. I know. But the kitchen closes at 7:30 because a lot of these restaurants, they're already open at 6 in the morning. And then they have the breakfast run. And of course, they have the people that go out to tours and stuff. So they have a really long day. It's not just that they are a restaurant that opens for lunch and for breakfast. They open really early on. Make reservations for restaurants in the a small coastal town, especially if you're there during our peak season, so our summer, that is from December up until Feb. And make reservations when you know there are lots of tourists around, so you can see July, August. If you see that there are lots of tourists, make reservations as well for at night, because if you don't make reservations, a lot of the time you don't have a spot. You can just walk in, and because it's such a small little town and there are only a few restaurants, you really need to make reservations unless you're going to cook for yourself every night. So that is something to consider. Well, up from there, we went further up north, and I will tell you about our next journey up north in the next video. So good to see you again. If you want to know more about traveling in Australia, grab our guide. You can buy them on the website. And oh, can you see it? Yes, grab our guide. You can grab it on the website, and you'll hear all about realistic itineraries, safety tips, advice, how to prepare when you travel with a child, and just general cultural information about traveling in Australia. So good to see you again, and I'll see you in the next video.